Hi, everybody. This is Shane Seeley, and I'm here to talk us through the new major as we are envisioning it right now. And to do so, we thought it might be interesting to look at three hypothetical students working their way through the English major and how they might do that. So, our sense of this English major is that it will provide a kind of flexibility, functionality, malleability that will allow different students with different interests and different needs to matriculate through the program in a way that's satisfying to them and hopefully, as they look at it from the outside, is exciting to them. And it's also hopefully a program, we envision it as a program that can be adapted to meet the needs of our faculty and can be taught by the faculty we currently have and can adapt as, if the academic gods are willing, we're ever able to hire again. So, let's look at our new friends. The first is Susan. She's coming in as a fresh person to UMSL, and she loves writing poems, and don't we all? This is Edgar. He's transferring in with some credits from St. Louis Community College, and he loved his American Lit course so much that he grew a beard. And this is Renee. She was a history major until she took a 1000 level linguistics course from Ben Torbert and decided that English was the place that she needed to be. And one of the things that we envision with this curriculum is that feeder courses like that, 1000 level courses, 2000 level courses that students take before switching into the major can be retroactively counted toward the major. Hopefully that would be another inducement. So of course everybody's going to take care of their Gen Ed requirements, including first year composition, one way or the other. And then at the 2000 level for the English major, this is currently, of course, as you know, where the survey courses are, because the current conception of the major is that the foundation is in coverage. And what we've heard from faculty members is that coverage is difficult to achieve in a 2000 level course. And so there's a sense of, there's a pressure there to get through a lot of material. What we envision is that students will take 9 hours at the 2000 level and one course from each of three categories: literature and writing, literature and English, language and writing, and creative writing. And we're envisioning these being, sort of inviting sounding intro level courses. The Kate Watts Intro to Creative Writing might be one, although we would certainly offer Intro to Poetry and Intro to Fiction at that level as well. But it would be courses that would be aimed at introducing students not to content as much as to practice and ways of thinking, ways of engaging with texts, ways of engaging with language. How do you write about a piece of literature? How do you talk about a poem? That sort of thing. And this is a place where students will be taking a lot of the same courses, and we envision that this is an opportunity for people to develop new courses or tweak courses that they were already teaching. Our hope is, I think there's a lot of room for both those who want to keep the courses that they teach and those who want to develop new ones or refresh ones that they're already doing. So at the 3000 level, once students have 9 hours at the 2000, well, they'll get 9 hours at the 2000 level, and at the 3000 level, students will begin to differentiate and choose their own path through the forest of English studies. 12 hours, and I should say that this 12 hours includes a course that fulfills the junior level writing requirement. And this is a good opportunity to say that we're envisioning widening the options for English majors looking to fulfill the junior level writing requirement. That 3090 will be encouraged for those students who are thinking about graduate school, but it will not be required of English majors. And English majors could take any number of 3000 level writing courses or rhetoric courses to fulfill that junior level writing requirement. So they must also take at this level one course in British literature and one course in American literature. Time period, focus, the shape of each of those classes is up to the faculty and then up to the students to decide. So Susan decides that she wants to take 3090 because she wants to hone that ability to write about literature. So she takes her American Lit, her Brit Lit, and then a poetry writing course. Edgar really likes literature, so he takes 2 American and 1 Brit, and for his writing, for his junior level writing course, he decides to take business writing because he feels like it will be valuable to his life after college, which, as we all know, really means that his dad is pressuring him to take a course like that. And here's Renee. She takes 1 American Lit, 1 Brit Lit, and 2 Comp Rec courses, one of which counts for her junior level writing requirement. At the 4000 level, you really begin to see students differentiating, finding their own path. This is where students have, as it says here, the most agency. They must take 12 hours, but the nature of those 12 hours is to be determined by the students with the help and guidance of their advisors, and also with the help and guidance of faculty to whom the students are talking. They can choose a particular focus if they want to, if they know what lies ahead for them: creative writing, literature, writing, and language. Or they can refuse to choose and study as a generalist. So here's Susan. We have not managed to dampen her passion for poetry, and so she decides to spend her 12 hours focusing on courses that make her a stronger creative writer. She takes a nonfiction course, she takes a poetry course, she takes a course in Shakespeare, because one of the things she's learned up to this point is that reading and writing are inseparable. And she also takes a rhetoric course that centers on digital literacy. Edgar, and I don't know what happened to Edgar's head, I apologize. Edgar decides to dive headfirst. Maybe that's what happened to Edgar's head. He spends his 12 hours taking courses centering around various writers, historical periods, traditions, gets that good foundation or develops a good foundation and some good depth in the study of literature. And here's Renee. Renee isn't really sure which path she wants to take, and so she refuses to choose and stays as the generalist approach. Takes a course in literature, another linguistics course, a rhetoric offering, and everything else that she can. Which leads us to, I think, what is the biggest change that we are envisioning for the curriculum, which is the capstone course, which will replace, much I'm sure to our students' dismay, the exit exam. And we envision the capstone course as a course that will be in which these students who have taken their own paths will sort of reconverge at the end of their time in the major. And it'll be a 3-credit course that meets regularly with the professor, but in that space, students will work independently on a project of their own devise that follows their own interests, their own experience, and their own curiosity. And our thinking is that students will spend the beginning of this time, and hopefully this will not be the first moment when they're asked to do this, thinking back over their major, creating for themselves a kind of narrative around the experience that they had, thinking about what mattered and matters to them, and where they might go from here with what they're doing. And then they're able to choose a project that they can execute in a semester and spend their time working on it. So Susan has honed her craft as a poet, and she dreams of MFA programs, and again, don't we all? For her capstone project, she assembles a collection of poems and then situates it with some researched writing about movements in women's poetry. And I would imagine this would be the kind of thing that the researched writing might be something that Susan is encouraged to do by the faculty member running the course. It's worth saying, by the way, that the capstone course would be run by professors who volunteer to teach it. It would not be a requirement that anyone or everyone teach that course, because it would require a particular kind, I think, of guidance. Edgar, whose head has returned, loves literature, but he knows that he's going to be in business eventually. So he decides to split the difference and write an extended literary analysis of literary representations of the business world. And there's Renee, who now her head's gone, isn't sure what she'll do next, but she's energized in this current political climate, and she feels as though her rhetoric classes taught her a lot and gave her a lot to think about. So she decides to examine Trump's major campaign speeches to understand how he appealed to his supporters. So that's a sampling of what might be possible in the capstone course, but really we envision the possibilities being as broad as the arguments students can make for them, really, and that the job of the professor in the course would be to shepherd students' work through that process, if need be, sending them on to a graduate student who might be able to provide some guidance or something like that. And to help the students to make sense of, frankly, their experience in the English major and to begin to think forward about what they want to do with it. A couple other things to note. At one point, back at the 2000 level, we imagined 4 categories and not 3, and the 4th one was cultural diversity. But it seemed to us at some point like cultural diversity was less a category, a subdiscipline, and more a feature of English studies as it exists today. And so what we've proposed instead is that certain courses throughout the major, from 1,000 to the 4,000 level, certain courses will be designated as courses that go toward fulfilling a cultural diversity requirement. So they will feature a diverse body of writers, or focus in some ways on minority literatures or minority discourses or something like that. And that students would be able to, we're proposing at this point, students would be required to take 12 hours of courses that fulfill the diversity requirement. And the diversity requirement would be defined by us, and we're envisioning a subcommittee that will meet next year and to sort of develop that definition and think about how classes fit in. It seems to us to be crucial to our identity as a department and as a program, to how we connect to the university's identity and to how we situate ourselves as relevant going forward. So the other thing to say is that the required credit hours at the 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 level, and then the capstone course, number 33, and that the minimum is 39, and the remaining 6 credit hours are required electives, and those electives can happen at any level. And that's where, Renee, that student who took a 1,000 level course and decided to be an English major, can count that course toward the major as one of her required electives, which, like I said, we think would be appealing to a student who was on the fence or was leaning toward picking up the English major. So that's our vision right now. We look very much forward to hearing what you think, hearing what your concerns are, hearing what your desires are. Obviously, the courses have yet to be developed, but we really do feel as though much of what is currently taught will be kept and will be supplemented with new material by those who want to develop new material. And that's where we are. Thank you very much for your time, and we look forward to you stopping us in the hall and telling us what you think. Thank you.